Hey, I'm Jacoby,
And I'm Chase.
and welcome to the Fantasy Otter Show, the most anticipated show of the year, the panic button. Very nice. So, as you know, the panic button is for those owners sitting at a 1-3 or 0-4 record and have no signs of life in the near future.
Yeah, you guys suck.
Well, yeah, you do. But this is, if you're 2-2 or you're on the fence, I wouldn't say this is the time to completely remodel your team. Also, if you have a high average points per week and you just have a bad head-to-head matchup and that's why you're losing, this doesn't call for a complete remodeling of your team. But these are for the teams that are getting blown out of the water every single week.
Yeah, and we want to emphasize that your team is not going to look the same after you make these changes this next coming week.
Yeah, this should be Extreme Makeover Fantasy Edition.
Yeah, and to start this off, why not start with the most important player on your team right now? You're going to want to trade your first-round pick, especially if you were one of the people that chose a quarterback in the first round.
Well, if you're 0-4, you probably are one of the idiots that chose a quarterback in the first round.
Yeah, and there's a ton of options on the waiver wire for quarterbacks especially to look for and to get. And by trading one of your top tier players, you're going to get a couple guys in return.
Mm-hmm.
For one,
Yeah,
right?
that's definitely just a shifting of value. You want to find a team that's really well off and they have a good team, but a mid-range quarterback, and give them your elite quarterback if you can get some RB2s, maybe some wide receiver 2s, some flex in return. 2 for 1 is the key. You want to give up your one star. I know you're saying, Jacoby, why would I give up my one guy? He's the only guy that's doing good on my team. That's why. He's the only guy doing good on your team. He's not carrying your team right now. He doesn't give you enough. He doesn't put up 70 points a week to carry your team. Trade that guy. Bring in 2 guys that can do not quite as good or not known for being quite as good, but solid. They'll fill the spots.
Yeah, you want to be even across the board. Have guys that are going to consistently come through every week, not guys that are going to be up and down, but could give you a superstar
Yeah,
game.
I mean, if you have Le'Veon Bell, but then your next running back, Ronnie Hillman, then that's not anything special. So
Yeah, and when you're looking for these guys, you're going to want to seek depth. We want you to go onto every team in your league, find the people
Scouting
that
is key.
Yeah, find the people that have the 5 receivers or the 5 running backs that are doing consistent. So you want to go after those guys when you're trading your superstars away.
Yeah, for sure. That's a big thing. The other thing is watching the waivers. You need to be the king of the waiver wire right now. This is a crucial time in your team. If you're sitting back on people or your bench is full of unproductive vacuums, you need to address those. We don't have time to go over waivers on this week's episode, but if you hit us up on Twitter, we'll be more than helpful to reach out to you. Also, the Fantasy Couch does a great show every week. You can hit them up if you're looking for waivers.
Yeah. Moving on to
We're looking at the difference between the waiver wires and how you're going to seek them out. If you are in the situation where you're looking for somebody, then you need to be able to find the value that you need for your team. So you don't want to have somebody on your team that's not going to help you win right now. If you have somebody like Des Bryant on your team, you're like, I don't want to trade Des Bryant. He was my pick. You could be statistically eliminated by the time Des Bryant comes around. Every decision you make to say, how do I get that win next week? Because next week is the only week.
Yeah, refuse to look long term. If you can't win the next week, the long term doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, I like to think of it as if you're on a cruise boat and you find out that the cruise is sinking, you're not going to be like, yo, I got to hit up that karaoke bar. Yo, I got to go get some more like roasted duck. You could be like, I'm going to jump on the boat that's a little tiny lifeboat and eat my saltine crackers and try to ride this out to save a homie's life. You're not worried about long term, you're worried about how do I survive right now. So put your team on the lifeboat.
Yeah, if you're going to make the playoffs with your 0-4, 1-3 record, you're going to squeak in. You're not going to be the superstar of your league.
Slide into that. But if you don't know how to do this or you're panicking, you're like, Jacoby, I'm not a person that's good at transitions. I'm not a person that knows how to negotiate. Please hit us up. We love doing that. We would love to look at your team, consult your team. If you're in the Phoenix area, come into our office anytime you need. If you're not in the Phoenix area, schedule a phone appointment. You can email us. I'll be able to reach out to you on my phone. I'll be able to call you anytime. Please don't be afraid. We would love to help.
Yeah, definitely.
Another thing that's coming up on our show, tomorrow, following that Houston Astros-Yankees game, we're going to be having a roundtable MLB discussion. So definitely you want to tune into that. We got some people coming on to talk baseball. It's going to be great. Till next time, watch your waivers. Don't trust the system. Otter knows. Hola, mi llamo Jacoby.
I'm Chase.